Kimora Lee is out here exposing pedophiles and traffickers in the industry, and she actually has a lot of experience to back it all up. One of the people she's exposing is Russell Simmons, who she started dating from a very young age and was married to for 6 years. Now, if you don't know, Simmons was the founder of Def Jam Records, so they had some dealings with Diddy too. Did Diddy really threaten to assault a pregnant Lee? Did Kimora Lee say that both Simmons and Diddy are involved in trafficking and the sexual abuse of young girls? Let's dig into it because there's a lot of information to go through here. Model and entrepreneur Kimora Lee is calling people out, and she's implicating her ex-husband Russell Simmons in connection with Diddy's debauchery. In 2017, Simmons was accused by several women of rape. The youngest person in the lawsuit was only 17 years old. Before any of the cases actually made their way to trial, Russell fled the country to Indonesia. He never came back, so he's avoided criminal charges. And that's interesting because that's around the same age that Kimora Lee was when Russell Simmons started pursuing her, and maybe even dating her. Most people already know this, but Cassie pretty much tanked Diddy's reputation when she exposed all of his misdeeds against her and other people in her lawsuit, which he settled with her for. Some of the things she accused him of were years of physical abuse and rape. Other things mentioned in her lawsuit include him getting her hooked on drugs, trafficking her, and forcing her into sexual intercourse with other men while he recorded it, masturbated, and used it to blackmail her. Diddy denied all of her allegations, but the lawsuit was settled 24 hours after she filed. But once all the details of Cassie's lawsuit came out, people started talking about how her and Diddy's situation sounded a lot like Kimora Lee and Russell Simmons. Kimora was technically still a minor when Russell started showing interest in her. Since we're talking about Cassie and Diddy, then let's talk about how Russell Simmons started dating Kimora when she was 15 going on 16 and was only a sophomore in high school. Russell at the time was 35 years old, so it was really inappropriate for him to start pursuing Kimora when she was just a kid like that. She and Russell dated for 4 years before they got married, and by then he was 41 while she was 22. They had their first child in 2000, named Ming Lee, and then a second baby in 2002 named Aoki Lee. In 2008, Kimora filed for divorce. As for the reason for the divorce, she cited irreconcilable differences. But what's interesting is what she asked when it came to their daughters. She wanted both legal and physical custody of the girls who were 8 and 5 at the time. And she asked that Russell should get reasonable child visitation to be accompanied at all times by the children's nanny and security personnel. That means she didn't trust him to be alone with the girls for some reason. But people didn't read a lot into their divorce because she and Russell were seen to be civil afterwards. All of that changed in 2017 when all of the rape allegations against him started coming in. One of the people that accused him of rape was another model named Carrie Clausen. According to her claims, Russell assaulted her all the way back in 1991 when she was only 17 years old. She said he showed her a music video in his apartment and then he started taking her clothes off, forced her to perform oral on him, and then raped her while Brett Ratner, his friend, watched. She said, "I looked over at Brett and said, 'Help me,' and I'll never forget the look on his face. In that moment, the realization fell on me that they were in it together." Russell not only denied it, but said that the incident was completely consensual with Carrie's full participation. Sherry Hines has also accused him. If that name doesn't sound familiar, she was part of one of the first female rap groups, the Mercedes Ladies. She said, "I was trying to maneuver and get out of it. He just held me down. Next thing I know, my pants was down and he was having his way." She also said, "I felt embarrassed, I felt used, worthless. The way I felt at the time was, I can't believe this man just violated me like I was nothing." 5 other women came forward with allegations against Simmons. One was an executive at Def Jam Records. She said, "The last thing I remember was him pinning me down to kiss me on the bed." She says she thinks she blocked the experience out now that she was drugged. Russell adamantly denied all of the allegations and claimed that every encounter he had with the women was consensual. But then, before the charges went to court, he bounced to Indonesia. Why Indonesia? Well, because he couldn't be extradited to the United States from that particular country. Everything started popping off with Russell and Kimora and his kids when Ming made a post that included a picture of Kimora and gushing over her for Father's Day, which ate Russell up, so he made a post on his Instagram that points the finger directly at Kimora for his bad relationship with the girls. It says, "Stop telling fathers they should have fought harder to see their children and start asking mothers why he had to fight at all." I'm just gonna go ahead and guess that the numerous rape allegations probably had something to do with it. Then Aoki posted a recording of Russell screaming at her in a video call, which was muted so he can't hear what he's saying, but is disturbing nonetheless. The caption on it says, "This is not someone who will accept help. This is just one screen recording. Sorry, I don't always remember to press record when he calls my friends, my boyfriend, or anyone to get a chance to threaten and curse and go crazy." She leaked this text to him too, with a caption that said, "No one should live like this. No one's child. This is abuse. Not okay. The threats, not okay. The fear-mongering, not okay." The text itself says, "Dad, I stopped talking to you because you were giving me panic attacks to the point I was placed on emergency medication every time we spoke. I cannot have a relationship with you until that stops. No one stops me from talking to you. My health does. I have to put that first. Every time I spoke to you, you would yell and scream about a legal situation that I can't even respond to because I am not involved. I am your child, not your lawyer, your ex-wife, any of it. I can do nothing, yet you yell at me like it's my fault." And she said, "It got to the point I could not hear your voice without having an anxiety attack." She also posted pictures where he was calling her mother a piece of shit and saying that she took all of his money and made his kids not love him. And all the while she was trying to speak respectfully to him and stay somewhat neutral in the situation. Understandably, Kimora was having no more of his shenanigans and called him out. "The same abusive-ish. This is how you maneuver with the world and women all around you. Your threats and lies and intimidation maneuvers and tactics are sad. Stop it, please. Your own flesh and blood, enough is enough." Apparently, he even threatened to blackball his own kids. "You said Aoki and Ming would never work again and that you'd ruin her and them? Really? This is how you learn. If people don't mess with you, then they don't mess with you. No love lost. And for those of you who know and send your love and support, thank you, we love you." Then she got on Instagram Live and said he groomed her and then forced her to marry him. She also went on to drag him for trying to act like everything was all cool even though he cut his kids off and wouldn't talk to them. And then she let slip that he's been mooching off her for years because he's broke. And that answers some more questions about him taking off to Indonesia. Maybe if he was broke, he figured he didn't have the money or the respect in the industry anymore to win the lawsuit against him. He sold all of his property in the US and moved to Bali just a few weeks after the allegations came forward. Since moving to a foreign country, he's been trying to brand himself as a peaceful wellness guru. But now we've seen him get aggressive with that video call and him yelling at his kid and her saying he does it so much he has to take medication for it. There are some comparisons there that we can make to Diddy. He started calling himself Love Combs before Cassie came out with her lawsuit. But of course, that wasn't the only person to ever accuse Diddy of some out-of-pocket ish. The aim with this rebranding is to trick people into thinking he's a gentle, loving, wholesome guy. Gene Deal, Diddy's former bodyguard, started saying he was going to come out with a tell-all book, not just about Diddy, but also about Russell and Jay-Z. And he says that publishing companies told him he could write about Russell all he wants, but that he wasn't allowed to write about Diddy. And with everything coming out about Diddy and Russell at the same time, people are starting to wonder if that's connected. Here's what some people are saying about the situation. "What's done in the dark always comes to the light. He's a straight evil monster and needs to pay for his actions now, not later. Too much evidence against him, too many people coming out, men and women, that had dealings with him in some kind of way or another." Also, explains all the meditation and spirituality in Russell's TV appearance. This man hates his daughters and abuses women. Now it's time for you to tell me what you think. I personally think maybe we should protect Kimora Lee just in case. But that's it for this video, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.